much for joining us.
Hey, thank you so much for having me on here today, everyone. It's great to put some faces to the names I've been seeing in the Instagram page and everything. I'm truly humbled and honored to be speaking in front of all of you. I know it wasn't too long ago I was sitting in your position, just waiting for graduation day, trying to get the ask submissions in and everything, all the countless hours of work and everything. So, it's great to be on the other side and here to provide some value to all of you. Just so I have a better idea, everyone in here, part of the sport and exercise psychology program is like in terms of either master's or undergrad. I'm just kind of curious. Thumbs up. Yeah, cool. Is everyone on the master's level?
A good portion of us are. There are
Portion.
some that are undergrad as well. Yeah.
Solid. How many of y'all are second year in your master's program? Oh, shoot. Okay. How y'all feeling? Good. Still alive? Okay, that's good. What about first year? Kaylee, I see you. The lone soldier over here, the lone wolf. How are you feeling?
Feeling pretty good. I love the program. Excited for another year.
That's cool. That's awesome. It goes by fast, but yeah, it's not every day I get to talk in front of just a group of hungry go-getting individuals like yourselves. I've been seeing from afar the social media and the people you've had on. I saw the video with Kiana not too long ago. She's so great. That's so cool that you had the opportunity to speak with her. But yeah, so I mean, that was a great introduction, Heather. I appreciate it. My name's Jake. I was in the program from 2017 to 2019, and it was such a fulfilling 2 years. Little bit about me, how I got there. I actually did a totally different route than most people who take part in the program. I actually I studied sociology and anthropology undergrad. So more of like the actions people carry out as opposed to like the mental part of the thing. And that was cool. I feel like it gave me a more well-rounded overview, coupling the 2 degrees together. But it's so funny, looking back on it, because goodness, I graduated undergrad 2014. So just a quick flex of my age. I remember talking to my mentor during undergrad and being like, hey, I heard about sport and exercise psychology. What is that? And their face is just like, I've never heard of that in my life. And this is 8-9 years ago. So it's crazy to see, the transition and how much our field has grown. And I truly believe that there's still so much room for it to grow, which is the best part, for all of you, myself included. This is we're in an up and coming field here, and that's something to really be happy about. But yeah, so I found out, after graduating my undergrad, oh shoot, I have so many prereqs that I have not done. Okay, cool. I was a little, after college, I was a little burned out, if I will. Education, going to class, first thing, last thing, studying. I was a little tired. Couple that with the student loan debt. And I was like, I think I need to take some time to just kind of figure this thing out. I knew I wanted to pursue this, but everyone I talked to, nobody knew anything about sports psychology. So I was like, I'm not trying to go in blind, but this seems like what I want. Like I grew up playing football and basketball, so I understand the athlete mentality. And then just innate, like I just love helping people. So like this field, I felt like combined my 2 passions. So I was like, I know I want to do this, but I'm gonna save up a little bit and pay off my debt and figure everything out. Fast forward 3 years later, I'm working this job that I cannot stand for 3 years. Like I literally cannot stand this job. It was like an IT job. And it was great, like I'm extremely grateful that I had it, because it did allow me to pay off my student loan debt and put aside, the necessary money I needed for masters. But I felt like I was getting stuck in like that rat race. And I had like this aha moment, and I'm someone who likes to find the light in the darkness. So, I wasn't the happiest during that time, but this thing happened to me. Like it was like an epiphany, and it was like, whoa, this is crazy. Like I envisioned talking to my future child and being like, having the conversation of, hey, you can do anything you want in this world. like anything at all if you put your mind to it. Like you can pursue it, you can figure it out, we can make it happen. And I'm standing here, my current day self, so I was like 24, 25, and I'm like, look at the position you're in right now, though. So if I'm having that conversation, I'm a hypocrite right now. And I was like, I can't do this. I can't do it anymore. I didn't have all the answers yet, but I was like, you know what? Put in my 2-week notice, literally the next day. And I'm like, I'll move back down home, move in with my mom. I will do the prerequisites, whatever it needs, whatever I need to do, I will do it. So it was a big leap of faith. But at the end of the day, I was like, this is the road I'm destined to go down, as opposed to what I'm doing now. I know I have so much more value to add to the world. So do just that, move in back home with mom, which is hard for a lot of people to do. I had to swallow the pride. I was like, okay, let me move in. Let me go back to the local junior college. Let me sign up for online classes, the whole 9 yards. I'm doing all this for like 6 months to a year. Meantime, I'm emailing the head of the department, Dr. Vargas, blowing her email up. I feel like she does not like me at all, because every day I'm like, hey, just saying, I just did this class. What else do I need? Got my little checklist. She just sends me the same information. I'm like, yeah, she is not liking me at all. Thanks, Dr. Reed. I appreciate that. But long story short, I did what I had to do. I did what I had to do. I had to sacrifice the things I had to sacrifice and put in that work. And, you know, I'm extremely grateful that I got accepted into Long Beach State. And, you know, that was a game changer. It was a game changer because, like, at that moment, I proved to myself that, like, whatever I put my mind to, I can accomplish. Like, it seemed a little cliche before, but that was like okay, I got something working for me. I got something working. And then that momentum just went into the program. I remember it was orientation. It was orientation. It was August 22nd, 2017. I remember the date because it was my birthday, actually. And we had plans to go out to dinner and everything afterwards. So I go to orientation. I was looking clean, y'all. I'm sorry, I'm not trying to sound cocky or anything, but I had like the button down. I had the white pants on, dress shoes, everything. Like, I was like, I'm about to shut it down. That was like the approach. And I get there and it's again, August. And so it's hot. I get there and everyone's rocking Nikes, gym shorts, and like tank tops. And I'm like, what are we doing? This is so embarrassing. Got some like insecurity going on. And they're like, yeah, they sent an email and everything about comfortable clothes. I was like, oh my goodness, the one email I missed after emailing Vargas 20 million times. But no more than like 30 seconds later, I look around and I see everyone in their Nikes and everything. And I see myself and I was like, you know what? This is what it's going to be. Like, this is the mentality. I need to separate myself from everyone. I need to stand out from the rest of the pack. And again, I don't mean this in a cocky way or anything. This was just like my goal, my intentions going into this. Again, I'm talking to my future kid about you can do whatever you want in this world. So my intentions were a little bit different. A lot of people that were in my cohort were younger than me. I was by far one of the oldest in my cohort. So I had few more years under my belt and some time to really think about this thing. So my approach was, okay, whatever you do, make sure you stand out. Make sure you shine, whatever it is. So we go in and Dr. Vargas, Dr. E, Dr. Magical are all kind of giving us the course catalog, the expectations. They're talking about this thing called STAR. I'm like, oh, that sounds really interesting. I like that. That's cool. I can work with athletes. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm like, okay, cool. I need to make sure I set up a meeting immediately with Dr. Vargas. Immediately. I'm talking like first day of class, before class. I need to get into STAR because that's what I'm trying to do. I'm there knocking on the door, set up the meeting. This is the first time I'm actually meeting her face to face after 100 emails daily. I'm not exaggerating. And I was like, okay, cool. Let me tell her my goals and everything like that. And it really just turned into me saying, hey, look, I'm going to be in STAR and this is what I'm going to do. And I left, I was like, I don't know if that was a good approach or not. I don't know if that came out like too strong. I don't know. I start to see some of the people in my cohort getting, partnered with teams. I'm like, oh man, I think I might have messed that up. I don't know. I eventually get partnered with Danielle Wong, who was, a couple years ahead of me. and working with the track and field team. And it was such an honor to be a part of that team because it was brought to my attention that the track and field team had the longest relationship with the sport and exercise psychology department. And I was like, oh shoot, they were waiting to pass the keys, pass the baton onto someone they trusted. I'm like, okay, cool. It's the time to shine right here. It's time to shine, right? And so I'm going through the motions. I'm learning a lot, obviously in class, through my readings, but in my experience, we all have the certain amount of hours we have to get, the observational hours, face-to-face, all of that. And all I kept hearing people say is like, it's not possible to get all those hours before you graduate. And that's all I heard. And I was like, I got to separate myself from that. I got to figure this thing out. So like, I have classmates going once a week to the practices. I'm like, shoot, I'm going every day. I'm going to every practice. I'm showing up. I'm picking Danielle's brain. I'm picking Dr. Eads' brain, Dr. Madrigal. I'm bringing all these random scenarios, hypotheticals, like everything. I'm bringing it to the table, right? And that curiosity mixed with ambition, I feel like really allowed me to hit my stride because it was the end of the first year. And Kaylee, that's why I'm glad that you're feeling good right now, because I remember being in this position, literally April 7, 2017. I'm talking to Coach Scythe, who's the head of the track and field team, head coach, excuse me. He's like, Jake, I'm really glad that you're a part of the team, but from this point forward, I need you to assert yourself. And I was like, oh man, I have been waiting for athletes to come up to me. I've been observing, I've been seeing, like I see certain things going on, but I was a little tentative to approach some people. I don't know, I'm like, these are D1 athletes, they know more than I, right? But it's like, okay, coach wants me to assert myself. Game changer. I hear his voice in my head every day. It's a game changer. Assert yourself. If I were to give you any kind of advice, boom, assert yourself. That was the takeoff moment. Because I remember I went home that night and I started up my YouTube channel. I started up my Instagram. And I was like, all right, if I can figure out a way to get onto like social media, to get out to other athletes or to other coaches, I feel like this could really separate myself, because I talked to everyone in my cohort. They're like, no, we don't do that. We don't do that. I talked to Dr. Vargas. He's like, I don't know if that's necessarily a good idea. Dr. E, do you want to tell her I said that? You don't have to say that, right? But I heard that and I was like, okay, cool. Here's an opportunity. I need to assert myself. I need to separate myself. And then that just created this constant, I wouldn't say eagerness or willingness, but I was constantly challenging myself to grow and to learn. Because I'm like, okay, if I'm going to put out content, I'm not going to sound stupid out here, be talking about something. And that's everything. Obviously, if you're working with an athlete, they're going to know if you BSing them, they're going to know, right? So it's like, okay, cool. I need to constantly be learning. But now I'm talking to a bigger audience here. So it's like, okay, cool. I need to make sure I'm on my P's and Q's. I'm constantly sharpening my sword, making sure I'm equipping my tool belt with everything I need, whatever. If it's confidence, okay, cool. And I'm like, oh, there's something called proactive confidence. I'm like, oh, what's that? Let me learn that. As opposed to reactive confidence. You're talking about PMR. I'm like, how can I make a PMR script even better than the one I had for class that I got? It's like, okay, cool. How can we do this? So I'm just constantly in the lab grinding, right? And in that effort and the advice that I had received, like I'm saying, it was a game changer, because I carried that into summer. I carried that into the second year, right? Second year track and field coach, he's like, yo, we're going to ASU for, a tournament. We want you to come along with us. And I'm like, I don't know if any of you had the chance of meeting, like Sergio or Joanne. I don't know if they were ahead of your guys' group or whatnot, but they were kind of like under my wing for track and field when I was leaving. And they're like, Jake, track and field's never invited the sports psych group to go with them before. And I was like, y'all, we going to ASU then. We making the move. We're going to be the pioneers. And we go, and it's like, okay, cool. So now we're starting to do things most people haven't had the opportunity to do. Now we're growing the program. Okay, cool. Okay, we're doing something here, right? So, and through all these experiences, right? Through the accumulation of experiences, everything that you do, that you learn, like that's great. It's wonderful. But the person that you become, the practitioner you become along the process is what it's all about. So the challenges that you're faced with that scare you, right? Perfect. I'm glad you got spooked by it. I'm glad. I'd much rather you get scared by it now than once you graduated and you don't have, a mentor right there to help you out, right? This is the time. This is the time to experiment. This is the time to learn, to pick people's brains, right? Swallow the pride. I know all of you are sweet. You all got it. You got the skill, but now is just the time you want to maximize your opportunity. You have so many resources here, right? I remember my second year, Dr. Vargas brought in Candace Chick, who was the head of business marketing program. And she came in and taught us how to brand ourselves. And I was like, oh, shoot, okay, I'm a brand now. I mean, I thought I was just Jake, but I'm a brand now, right? And then, okay, so I was like, let me apply that to the YouTube and IG that I had going on. Let me brand this a little bit differently. So now I'm over here adding her on LinkedIn, talking to her daily. I told you I blew up Dr. Vargas's email. I'm over here blowing up Candace Chick. I'm like, hey, so what kind of brand? How do I reach out? What do I need to do? What are the keywords? All that. So you utilize the resources you have now. You have so many at your disposal. It's just, it's mind-blowing to know how much more you can do than what you think you currently can do. Right. And that's me looking back and being like, I was pretty damn happy with my career there at Long Beach State. I was pretty proud, but I was like, I know I could have done more. I know I could have learned more. You know what I mean? It's wonderful. And I'm honored Dr. Eads in here listening to me speak, because I remember going to her classes and being like, yeah, this is the highlight of the day. And now it's like turn things around and she's coming here to listen to me speak. I'm like, oh, shoot. Right. If only I could have done a little bit more, though, to position myself in a way where whatever award comes your way, or if I could have stood up there and asked and spoken, I was scared. I came up with a poster, but I'm talking about like on stage. Like you got to imagine what your end goal is. You got to imagine what the end goal is and start putting in the action now to make sure that that end goal is replicated today. So, I was focused on like graduating and making sure I get out of qualitative research studies. Like I was trying to get out research studies. That was one of my end goals. I got, I did really well in school. I got a C in that class. I'm like, come on, man. But I was like, I'm taking it. I'm out. Give me my C. I'm out of here. You know what I mean? So that was my approach. But it's like you get what you put your energy into. Okay, and again, I know all of y'all are well-educated, hungry. I know the fact that y'all are here listening to me speak right now, I can tell that you are destined for something more than what you currently are. And I applaud that. Right? I understand that time's our most valuable commodity, how we can never get more time back. So the fact that you're using your time to listen to me speak, right? I want to make sure I add value to your lives. But at the end of the day, you got to be your biggest cheerleader. You got to be your biggest cheerleader during those times when you get the capstone or thesis papers. And it's like, man, I got to do this again. I got to get my defense. And it's tough. It's tough. Remember that end goal. Think about who you are in the end. Okay. One of the hardest questions I've ever had to answer by one of my mentors, they're like, so what are your goals? Told them my goals, all that. Who must you become in order to reach those goals? And it's like, what you mean, who must I become? What? But obviously you're not that person if you haven't reached the goal yet. If you reach the goal, then you're that person, right? So figure out the qualities that you need. Look at your strengths. How can you make those a little bit stronger? Or how can you utilize them a little bit differently to your advantage? Look at your weaknesses, the things you struggle with. All right, just like working with the athlete, okay? How can you turn that weakness into just a little bit better? Oh, there's someone over there that's really good at what I suck at. Okay, let me go model what they do. Let me figure out what they do. Okay. The resources, it's everything. It's everything, right? So, I mean, I could go on and on about, the journey and everything. I do definitely want to get to your questions. I'm very grateful and fortunate that I've been able to take my degree and leverage it into what I'm doing now, which is mental performance training over at a sports academy called Winter Circle Athletics. Thank you for the shout out, Heather. Um, and it's a wonderful opportunity because, you know, I feel like this is what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm sure a lot of you can echo that same sentiment. And it's great to know all of your hard work pay off. Okay. And it'll pay off as long as you continue to make it happen. Okay. There was, I think from May, my graduation, I got hired September. So we're talking all summer. It was the end of September. So, you know, like there's that clock that goes on in your head, right? Where it's like, oh shoot, I'm about to graduate. I need to make sure I have the job lined up. Or, oh shoot, summer's almost over. Oh, it's September. This is usually when school starts. I should be doing something by now. I had all those thoughts. And then September 23rd, 2019 comes and I'm like, oh, life just changed. So the opportunities, good luck waits to come to the men and women who take advantage of opportunities. Okay, good luck waits to come to men and women who take advantage of opportunities. That means you have to act. You have to do things that most people aren't willing to do. No one was willing to do the YouTube and Instagram, you know, side of the game when I was going to school. Okay, I remember I had it going, and I didn't tell anyone about it. I was like, I'm gonna keep this hush because first I feel like I could look like a fool on posting random video. I didn't know what I was doing, but one of my friends, Dr. Edith was Sunny, he found it, and he's like, I see the championship cognition going on over there. I was like, oh shoot, the cat's out the bag. He's like, man, let's go. Let's make this thing happen, man. How can we do that? And it's like, that was the moment where I was like, the cohort, the people you're surrounded with, man, those are the closest people you have. Like, they fully understand what you're going through, right? And they can empathize with you. So during those stressful times and everything, man, turn to the people to your left and right? Establish that rapport, that relationship, trust in those people. Because I really wish I would have done that, you know, during the process a little bit more. We had great relationships and everything, but the fact that I felt like I had to keep the cards close to my chest, you know, that's something I wish I didn't have to do. But at the end of the day, all that extra work allowed me to get this position. So I know you were talking to Kiana about social media and how you brand yourselves. You know, the world's changed quick. And, you know, I can only share what I've experienced. And by constantly putting out content and value for people, that opened up so many doors. So I'm at Winter Circle Athletics, but I've had medical professionals approach me. I've had beauty salonists approach me. Okay. They're sending me this conditioner. I don't even know what to do with it after as a thank you. But I mean, it's like, yo, so you got to know, like, the performance, right? The performance aspect of what we do applies to everything. Applies to our own lives, right? PMR, visualization, gratitude. These are all things I was doing before my capstone presentation. I saw it all happen before it even played out. So I was like, my confidence was high. So like, the things that we're teaching, implement them. I feel like I'm rambling now. I could keep going on and on. I want to get to your questions or any type of structure that you may want from me before our time runs out here. So thanks for listening. Y'all are great listeners. I feel like you'll be great practitioners.
I actually have a question, if that's okay. Thank you so much. I feel like I was getting like, wow, like I was really feeling motivated.
Yeah.
The way you talk, like, wow, I'm getting energized.
Yeah, come on now.
But I think obviously, as myself and the people who are going into, or, you know, about to go into graduation, and I think for at least myself, and I think for others, there is kind of that period of like, what do you think the best way is then to supplement when you are out of the program? Like, how do you continue where you said, like, sharpening that sword? Like, there's so many different ways you could do that. And I know that, like, I've heard so many where it's like, read the books and read the articles and read, like, what do you feel like for you, like, your best system or combination, or like, what do you feel like helps you the most to where you are prepared after graduation to, like, continue, learning more about being like ready to speak to people.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm gonna answer that question, Taylor, but I have a question for you. You said people say read the books. When I say read the books, how does that make you feel?
I mean, I think it's tough because like I have a lot of them that I've gotten where I get really excited about it, but I also think it is hard for me where it's like, why I want to, but I don't have time to read like these 10 different books that you've given me all in a short period of time. Like, so if I really want to be ready to like talk to someone, I can have my bookshelf that's full of them and I'll get to them eventually. But also, I think my first thought is like efficiency. Like I want to be able to do that. And like, I do enjoy reading them, but efficiently, like, I don't know how much I can synthesize all that information. So it's kind of like up and down when
Yeah. What do you think you could do that's more efficient than necessarily sitting down and reading every word of those books?
I had thought about maybe like looking at if I found like a specific author I really liked, seeing if maybe they had other supplementary things. So I kind of did that with mindset. So I really liked Carol Dweck's stuff.
Nice.
So I went and watched like some of like her TED Talk and like some of her trainings and stuff like that. So that's kind of what I've been doing with
Love that. What's something you've taken away from her?
Growth mindset. That's like that's my favorite. I think any sports psych concept, like that's my favorite one out of all of them. Yeah.
Love that. What's the growth mindset?
I just did a post about this. It's making sure that you like are using your self-talk to say that you can grow in your learning of new skills rather than having your skill set be fixed.
Love that. Love that. That's definitely point number one. Okay, is fueling yourself with that confidence and the belief that you can do this, that you will make this happen. Because if you don't believe it, you will not make it happen. Okay, so that's point number one. You got to make sure your belief system aligns with what it is that you want to put action into. Okay, the fact that you found someone that inspires you, right, or teaches something that you can take away, I would do some research on what they did to get in this position. Okay, I did a lot of modeling. Like I looked into Dr. William Parham, who now works at Loyola Marymount University. I sat in meetings with him. It's like, so what did you do after graduating? I did the same thing, Dr. Vargas. I did the same thing with, a bunch of people. I just did some research. I'm like, this person inspires me, or I read this book. Let me look up the author. What did they do? So literally what I'm telling you is what I did. I basically modeled myself after other people who have come before me. But it all started with the belief system. The belief system. I knew no matter what, I was going to make this thing happen. Okay. And that's my self-talk to this day. Whatever it is, I'm going to make this happen. So I did all these YouTube and Instagram videos. Let me go ahead and research local high schools, send it to all of them. This is how I could add value. I will come in for free. Went to Cerritos University or Cerritos College, set up a meeting with the track and field coach there. Hey, Long Beach State. I've been working with the track and field team. Let me do a quick seminar for you. He used to run Long Beach State track and field. So he's like, yeah, for sure. Setting up random meetings in basketball gyms with coach, like just asserting yourself to go back, making it happen. Because the longer you just wait, and I'm a big fan of reading. I have like 3 books myself I'm trying to read. I'm with you, right? But you have to put that step forward. You have to put the step forward. I feel like the knowledge that we gain from reading is humongous, but that application of the knowledge is where the power is. So it's like, okay, how can I growth mindset, perfect. How can I apply this to get one step closer to a job, right? So it's just taking what you're learning and putting it into action, okay? If you need help researching any types of, if it's schools or do you have like a population you'd like to work with? Have you thought about that, Taylor?
Yeah, I'm actually in the interview process right now for the like MRT jobs for the working with the Army. Actually, what Joe is doing right now.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That's awesome. Congratulations. Yeah. So you're in contact with them. So you're doing exactly what you need to be doing. You're doing exactly what you need to be doing. I know it can feel a little scary because nothing's been solidified yet. Right? But you got to know right here, right now, you're doing everything possible that you can be doing. You're learning more. You're establishing this growth mindset. You are literally interviewing. Like that's a big 3 right there. You're killing it. You're killing it. Okay. So doing that and figuring out, okay, the people that have done what I need to do, what did they do? So the person that you've been watching TED Talks and everything, the author, are you able to do some research? Have you tried shooting them an email?
I don't know. Carol Dweck is like, she's like
Hey.
really big. But you're right. Like, I
Hey.
mean, I could do that. And I think that is like, that I feel like it was a light bulb that like some of the times I've been worried about like, oh, how do we put into practice something? Like, how do I practice this? I don't want to just get up to my job and like, but you can practice it with yourself. Like I could say like, oh, how do I like tell someone about growth mindset? But it's like, okay, well, why don't I just practice it in my daily life? And that'll help me feel more confident. So that's really helpful. That was a good, like.
Yeah. And by practicing it, you will be able to articulate it. And I wouldn't be afraid of her status, because people's successful people, if you will, if you want to put the title on it, people in general naturally want to help other people. Okay. I say successful people because anyone that's sacrificed or has done a lot with their life has a certain kind of empathy for someone who's coming up. And it's like, okay, cool. I see the ambition and the hunger. Let me try and give some tips out. So Dr. Parham, the person who I modeled after, was sports psych for the Olympics, the Lakers for years. And it was scary. But I'm like, I'm trying to do that. That's what I want to do. So let me shoot him an email. Got back to me. Said, come by tomorrow at this time. So, I mean, the worst that can happen is a rejection. And what I've learned is with the rejection, when you get the no, email them again. Be persistent. Get what's yours, basically. Get what's yours. If you want it bad enough, go get it. Go get it. But you got it, Taylor. You got the keys. You have it.
Thank you. That was really helpful.
You're welcome. If there aren't any more questions, I promise I can keep talking. I'm just want to make sure that we got, the stuff covered that we want to get covered.
I have a quick question. As someone that's working with the track and field team right now, I want to hear, like, how did you assert yourself? What did that look like for you specifically?
Yeah, that's a good question. Congratulations working with the squad. I love it. I love it. So what I did, I found out the entire schedule. I guess that would have been 2018, 2019. I found the entire schedule, meetings, coaches meetings, player meetings, athletic trainer, like I found it all. And I was like, okay, cool. There's this back to school little intro type of meeting going on way before school started. It was like mid-August, which is like normal start time now, but it was like mid-August. And I was like, I'm showing up to that meeting with the speech. And I'm gonna tell coach that I got some stuff I need to talk about. And he loved it. He's like, yeah, come on down. So I show up, super hot. Because track and field, it was a track and field and cross country. So there's like 100+ athletes in this auditorium. And coach is talking and everything like that. And we lock eyes. And I'm like, yep, this is the time. And he's like, and by the way, this is, Jake Lee's gonna be our sports psych. I think he has some words. And so I went up there and had this whole presentation ready, killed it. And it was like, okay, that was the major first step, was like, okay, I'm gonna put myself out there so everyone knows my name, everyone knows my face, right? So that was kind of like my grand, intro, my grand entrance into asserting myself. And from that point on, I set up recurring check-ins with everyone. I grouped everyone, the pole vaulters, the sprinters, all of that. Grouped them. I was like, we're going to do weekly check-ins here. This is when we'll do it. If there's anything you need to talk about, just let me know. We had a whole system. So creating that schedule, coupled with the intro meeting, I would say was by far the biggest way, because at that point, then there was trust. There's recognition, there was trust. He's like, oh, this dude's checking in with me and I can actually trust him. He didn't go and tell coach after I told him. Nice, that works, right? So it's just positioning yourself. And again, I went every day to practice. I went every day. I worked and then went to practice and then went to class. That was my everyday schedule. And, showing up, effort, you can't fake effort. So when people see you constantly showing up and giving them the amount of respect and building a special type of rapport, the energy is reciprocated. Then it gets to the point where Sergio, myself, and Joe are showing up and doing the track workouts with them. And I'm over here dead during the warm up, but I'm like, hey, we got to push. This is what we train. Let's go. Right. But so I would say those were the two major ways of asserting myself. There are tons of other aspects, but being that first person to go out, introduce yourself, and then kind of create the schedule. Athletes, they're creatures of habit and they love the schedule. They love the routine. So kind of, for lack of a better term, force your way into the routine, make it happen. That's a
Definitely.
good question.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Of course. I'm gonna share something with you. I'm just gonna kind of, if there's no question, I didn't mean, oh, Genevieve, I'm sorry. Did you have a question?
Yeah, I was just going to chime in and say, love listening to you talk. Very awesome, very inspiring. Thank you for sharing all that stuff. And then my question is there anything you wish you would have done sooner or known sooner to get ahead with your career?
Ooh, good question.
And you mentioned earlier, like kind of connecting with your cohort. So I kind of noted that one, but was there anything else in particular?
Just be clear, very clear with what, you want out of your career. Because I think that clarity, a lot of people have goals, but they're a little foggy, where it's like, that would be nice if, as opposed to, this is what I'm going to do. You know what I mean? It's a little murky. So having like a definite goal is big. It's just, we're talking about efficiency. It just makes everything more effective when you're putting the necessary action as opposed to, minor sort of action. You know what I mean? Like, you want to make sure you're majoring in major things, not majoring in minor things. And I saw a lot of people majoring in minor things, doing little things that it's like, yeah, that's cool. That's cool. But you can like jump 2 steps ahead if you do this. But that doesn't come unless you have that definite purpose or definite goal. You know what I mean? So do you have like an idea in terms of your career, what it is that you want to do, Genevieve?
You know what? That's a tough one. I had to write, my statement of purpose, and I had a hard time like really honing on like what could I be doing, like what would be like best case scenario for me to like be the happiest and give my best self, right?
Yeah.
So I have this idea, but then again, like looking back a few years ago, I had no idea that I was even going to get a master's. I had no idea that it was going to be in sports psych. So I'm kind of also just like curious, and like you said, curiosity and ambition, like kind of just like keeping my mind open. Like I know that I would be happy doing certain things, but also like not letting myself settle for less. Like, oh, I don't know about that. That seems like a lot of work and a lot of, extra school, like to go on and get another degree after a master's. Do I really want to do that? Kind of one of those things where I'm trying to remind myself it's okay not to know, and it's okay to keep it open. I feel like that's kind of the opposite of what you're saying. Like you want to define things, but I'm still kind of open to learning more about other positions and possibilities. So it's a tough one.
I love that answer. Let me ask you this, just to kind of play devil's advocate. Why is it okay to be open and not have an idea?
Because plans always change.
Interesting.
Life never goes like, oh man, like things never really go the way you planned the first time, right? I mean, I don't know, just life itself, things are always changing. So I don't want to be like, oh, that's the end all be all, and then be disappointed if I change my mind.
Yeah. This is something I would pass along to you. This is something I work a lot with my athletes on. If y'all want to take this, that's totally fine. But I'm a firm believer that in order to perform your best in sport, you have to be, in a position where you are good holistically. Like I've seen time and time again where people bring their stress from outside of sport into sport, and that affects them. They don't even know it affects them until halftime, and they're like sitting here pissed off, and they're having a great game, but they're still holding on to the fact that they got a car ticket yesterday. And it's like, whoa, okay, let's get mindful here. Let's get present. So something that I work with my athletes on is establishing their athletic philosophy, right? Like their standards, their must-haves. Okay. So, and I'm telling you that to tell you this, Genevieve, that you may not know right now what the job is, right? But as long as you know what your standards are and what your way of life is going to be, then you will plug and play. You'll figure that out. But if you know, hey, whatever I pursue, I'm going to do X, Y, and Z to the best of my ability. It's like, okay, cool. I can take that. And I know I won't settle. Okay, cool. I can take that too. What else? I don't want to work a 9 to 5, or I do want to work a 9 to 5, or I want to do research, or I want whatever it is. Just make sure you have a clear understanding of your standards, of what your philosophy is. Okay. And that will that'll open or close certain doors that align or don't align with what it is that you want. So it's okay not to know right now. That's okay. But still having the clarity of what it is that you're seeking, right? In terms of your philosophy, girl, you can make that work. You can make that work. Yeah, I hope that helped.
Thank you for sharing. Yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
So standards, philosophy.
For sure.
I love it. Thank you.
Absolutely.
I have a question.
Hey, what's up?
So you talked about like taking advantage of every opportunity within the program, and you sort of alluded to like, oh, I wish I had presented at ASK, but is there anything else like specifically you wish you would have done, like maybe earlier in the program, or just like an opportunity you wish you had taken in the program?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I think I established really good relationships with a lot of people, but I think I was a little timid early on. I think if I would have established them earlier and I gave you the example of, one of my classmates finding my YouTube channel. It's like, man, I wish I could have shared that. Or I wish, I would have had the relationship with Dr. Eid sooner, to the point where I could have been like, hey, I want to present at ASP. It freaks me out, the thought of it, but I need to do this thing because I need to get outside of my comfort zone so I can grow. But I didn't have that. I was like, more of like just trying to observe and just trying to get my footing, right? I knew I wanted something more, but I was a little timid. So I would say, something, I guess that kind of circles back to my original point of, just asserting myself. I wish I would have done that. I wish it didn't take to the end of my first year for coach to say, assert yourself, for me to then begin to assert myself more. That's a good question.
Hey, Jake, I have a question for you.
Yeah, what's up?
Sorry that my camera isn't on. My daughter's running around here, but how much work do you do with young athletes at Winter Circle?
Yeah. So at Winter Circle Athletics, there's athletes all the way from 4th grade through high school. And then, so young athletes, what's your definition of young athletes? Just
okay, so I coach club soccer, and right now I have 2 under U9 teams, or to say U10 teams. They're 9 years old.
Yeah.
And I've been coaching club soccer for a while, but this age group is a little energetic.
That's a good way of putting it.
Yeah. I'm just curious as to what your experiences are with working with athletes at that age.
Yeah, no, energetic is a great way of putting that. I find that age really tests my patience and ability to step back and not get super tense. PMR is used often with that age group. I think my objective is I want to make sure that whatever we do has a lesson behind it. They may not be able to master, the cone drill or whatever it is that we're doing, but I want to make sure that when they leave practice, that they understand either why we're doing what we're doing or how it can help them get one step closer to their potential or whatever it is. So even if it's like, hey, let's see, I had this one kid who's pretty good at soccer, pretty good, but he's not so good at listening. So it's like, and again, my whole philosophy is I need to make sure we are good, well-rounded, because I know that the moment you don't listen in the game, when I'm calling out to do X, Y, or Z, is that one play that's going to mess up the game. And it's not all about winning and losing, but just understanding the importance of, hey, when I'm talking to you or when I'm trying to pass along a message, it's important that you listen. And why is that the case? So it's more so, it's like I see that group as like me mentoring, well-rounded or holistic development. Obviously we want to go out there and have fun and ball out, right? But I see that's a pivotal time to teach youth athletes how sports and life, can kind of merge the teamwork, the communication skills, listening, putting the goal of the team before you, being selfless, so making sure I'm kind of incorporating that a little bit that way, if that makes sense. I hope I'm not butchering this, while on top, obviously teaching sport specific skills.
Okay.
And again, that can be a struggle. It can all be a struggle. How long have you been coaching that age group?
Well, I've been coaching club soccer for over 15 years now.
Yeah.
So you referenced your age earlier. I'm 41 and went back to school because to be perfectly frank, I was missing out on college coaching positions that I felt I had the experience for and was like certified or licensed for through US Soccer, but I didn't have a degree. So went back and thought that sports psychology was a good fit. So I'm finishing my undergrad actually in a month and got accepted to the master's program. So I'll be starting that in the fall. And initially my goal was to be the head coach of a college program, right? That's why I came back for. But the more I've been around, I've been around youth sports a long time. So, but the more I've been in this program and I've listened to professors like Dr. Fragasa and Dr. Eid, right? I feel that my calling, if I can use that word, is to mentor coaches be better for their young athletes, because I see like absolute garbage as to how like we talk to our kids and how we talk to our young athletes. And I've seen kids come off the field crying because of what their parents and coaches put them through. And that's where my heart is.
You were the man. You were the man. That's such an ongoing, dilemma in the field. It's so challenging because like you want to provide the knowledge and help them out in any way you can, and then they go home and hear what they hear, and their belief system is swayed a certain way to make it where I have to be 100% all the time, killing it.
Yeah.
And they mess up one time, and then all of a sudden the tears are down their cheek, and they're like, my mom or dad's really mad at me. So it wasn't even a good game.
Right.
3 goals. And it's like,
I know,
so
right?
it's like, oh my goodness, it's challenging. So kudos to you for taking on that mission, man. Because I do think that the coach is the ultimate leader of the team, and they have a lot of say and influence. So if they can, even change just one parent's approach on the parents' meeting or whatnot, and say, hey, this is how I'm going to coach. This is the type of language we're going to use. If you could echo this at home, that would take our whole team to a new level. So bringing the whole family into it as opposed to just the kid.
Right.
And, but that's a challenge, man, for sure.
Oh, big goals, right? Big dreams.
Love it. No, I salute you for real. That's awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, man.
I do want to be mindful of your time. I know you have to hop off at a certain time, but if you want to leave any last parting words, that'd be really great.
Man, yeah. So parting words, definitely assert yourself. Some of the best memories I had at Long Beach State, especially when working with the athletes, was when faced with a challenge I did not know the answer to at first, how to handle it. And there were some difficult times for sure, some difficult times. But being able to go to certain people and receive that assistance is huge. You're not in this by yourself. You have a circle. The goals that scare you, I love the goal that you just said, my man. The goals that scare you are usually the ones that you need to go pursue. That action that freaks you out, it has to get done regardless. So don't let the stress, the anxiety, the nerves control you. Do your best to control your mind. My elevator pitch, I know some of y'all have to have that down. My elevator pitch is that, hi, my name's Jake. I'm a mental performance coach. My job is to teach you how to have your mind work for you rather than against you. So at the end of the day, make sure that your mind is not working against you. When we come to any sport event, any performance, we bring two things with us. We bring our physical selves and we bring our thoughts. The goal is for us to be on top of our thoughts, not to have our thoughts be on top of us. Because when our thoughts are on top of us, that's when we begin to worry about things we can't control and let our fears, nerves, and anxiety kind of spiral out of control. Okay. So understand whatever it is that you're doing, if you just take a deep breath, right? Get some belly breathing in. See the person and the performance you want to display, and then just go out there and do it. Just go out there and do it. And any challenge that you face, you'll be able to overcome just like every other challenge you face in your life. Okay. And I'm passionate about this because I know so many people who have put in the time during their master's program and then didn't do anything with it. And I know that they have potential, just like all of you have potential. Don't let anyone stop you, but most importantly, don't let yourself stop yourself.
Really appreciate that. Thank you so much for coming in. And is there any way we can have your email in the chat just in case?
Yeah, for sure. Let me go and put that in there right now.
Perfect. Thank you so much. And thank you everyone for coming out.
Yeah, there goes my email. Go ahead and hit me up anytime you need. Yeah, I'm a big supporter of Long Beach State. So anything that y'all need, reach out, email, Instagram, whatever. I appreciate all of y'all.
Thank you.
All right, everyone. Have a good one. Take care.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Take care.